So I'm going to do some brush demonstrations for you to have a practice. And clean my brush off. And we're going to be using the flat brush. Have to bear with me, sorry, my throat isn't great. I'm going to go back to the back of my book like I did before. I'll find it. Yeah, so that was with the round brush, our little exercises. So I'm now going to do some little exercises using our flat brushes. They're really particularly good for, kind of doing larger areas, so doing backgrounds, that kind of thing. But also they're quite nice. You can get some nice sort of shapes using the actual brush and what I call the blade sharp bit there. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to start with putting out a little bit of black or whatever colour you want to use. And all these kind of like practices, see them as a kind of mindful endeavour as well. You're kind of creating patterns. I'm going to do a little checkerboard just with horizontal coming out, horizontal and vertical dashes. With these, it could be quite fun, seeing how fast you can go. Or you can just take it nice and easy for plate spinning. Just create that. I mean, actually, you could just go straight across using the horizontal stroke. More paint on there. Or we can fill those in. Or they could all be vertical. But you can lose yourself in this a little bit, which is nice. It's a bit like doing the leaves, I've done those. And that's really relaxing. You can concentrate on getting really perfect squares, unlike mine. Or you can do them quite dashy. I like this sort of finish where it kind of like that. I like it. You kid. Reload. What else are we going to do? So that's a really nice repeat. You don't have to make it as a checkerboard. You can make it, just little lines. You can practice how long they are. I like that bit when it's running out of paint. Not complicated. Or you could use the blade like that, which I also really like. And put some in there. It's playful. Harder on the center of the page. You get the gist. So you can play around with that as well. And now I feel like I have to finish the line. There we go. That'll do. Okay, and then we can do these. So I've got a nice flat brush. I'm coming on my point, come down, press a little bit harder, and lightly come up. So you're creating these sort of this pattern of a kind of U, I suppose. Do them a little bit close together. Play around with making them slightly wider. So each time I'm going along the bottom bit, I'm putting a bit more pressure on there. So come down nice and light with the point or the blade of the brush. And then as I come and I'm still moving, I press down. You're kind of in, I suppose. I'm not really trying to do letters. You can pull that line down a bit if you want. You can start with a nice thin line, come across, go all the way down. Looks like a hat. You see? You could try, I'm not going to do it, but you could try having 3 different colours and blending them, and then you get this kind of really nice kind of like an ombre as you do the pull across. Short ones. And then where I want to go. Let's just try this on the other page. Let's drag that page off. So let's move over to the other page. And you can have a sort of really kind of wiggly play. So this again, I'm just doing it quite, pressing down quite lightly. And then as I move, put on a little bit more pressure, and you get those sort of ribbony effects. Quite interesting little. That turn. So that's something you can play with a bit more space. Maybe on some newspaper or something. Wiggles. So they're nice. Do like the flat brush. And then let's just try some leaves. So I'm going to do a stem using that blade. So I'm hardly any pressure. I know there's a little bit of sort of cat-candid there showing you that. But I'm using the blade and I'm just going up with hardly any pressure. Okay, and then we're going to do leafy. Like that. So they're much thinner. A little bit more unpredictable. But again, kind of nice. I'm touching the stem either side, then like the sort of leaves we've done before, I'm just coming out, having more of a symmetrical pattern. You can obviously reload your brush. As I've mentioned before, I quite like that kind of look, how it's sort of running. I like that quality, running out of paint quality. This little one, facing me, it might be a bit easier. I'm doing that. So again, I'm not really, if I put pressure on, I get that thicker beginning that looks a bit like, well, just a little bit of a thicker leaf. So I want it more slimline. I'm not adding as much pressure. And I think it's the case with a lot of the brush sort of techniques. It's about whether you're kind of giving a kind of feathered finish, you know, a really light feel, or where you're putting pressure down, getting a thicker leaves. It's just so you can start from the top and pull down, and you're going to get more of a longer. These can be petals as well. You could make flowers with these. So that's just down to kind of colour, that sort of idea. So you can have a practice with those. I am also going to just show you some backgrounds and put them in my book. And then, where am I going to do it? Probably in my page, because I've come to my practice at the back of my book. I'm going to make up some backgrounds that I'll use at some point, maybe even this weekend. So I'll get prepared for that. Okay. So when I use these backgrounds, or when I will, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. Flat brush again. So this is called sort of feathering and getting a really nice blend. So when we, and we'll have done some already, but when I first used to go onto a background on a canvas, and I'm going to add, it feels a bit different on paper. So I'm going to add a bit of pink, a bit of yellow. And I might add in some white. And sometimes I might feel like I've got a little bit too much on my brush. So I'm just going to wipe that off. Right, so I've gone in. I've got quite a lot on my brush. Take some of that. I'm doing that kind of crisscrossy. You know, 1, 2, crisscrossy as a sort of blend. And then with this pink and this yellow, you're going to get a kind of orangey colour coming through as well. So this is quite nice for those sort of skies that you might do. For sunsets or sunrises. Yeah, and I'm just literally crisscrossing, and I keep on going. Go to the edges, blending these colours. I might have used the term sort of warm and hot colours. Warm and hot colours, what am I talking about? Warm and cold or cooler colours. So you don't really want to try and blend those. Otherwise you get that kind of muddy background, which you probably want to avoid. So just keep on going. And I'm adding quite a lot of white to it. It just mutes it, takes it back, but also creates that nice blend between the two colours. So you're kind of creating a bit of an orangey feel as well. You could use red. I quite like this magenta-y pink. Okay, let's take that right to the edges. I'll add a bit of water just to help that flow. But I really am just very lightly going back. But you can hear any snoring. That's Anushka, the dog, sitting behind me, snoring. Pink here. This, I'm not pushing hard on my brush. It's like at the very tip of my brush is being used to blend those colours. And that's quite square, so I'm just trying to kick it back. To say canvas is probably a little bit more forgiving. I'm getting quite a lot of the brush marks on the page, but I'm not going to get too upset about that. And so just add a bit of water, make sure your water's clean. Crisscrossing all over so you get that really nice sort of merge. But do you see you're kind of getting that blend, which creates, it'll be really kind of lovely. Put some clouds in. That sort of, I don't know. You know, you can start using it as a background for something. So I'm going to leave that to dry. That's feathering and sort of making a really nice blended background. But you wouldn't use, so I wouldn't necessarily use green and red because you'll get brown. But, you know, because they're cooler colours. So I might use the greens with some blue. Or if I was going to get more colours to sort of layer on top, I'd let that dry if I was going to move on to colder colours. Right, that, as I say, is blending, feathering and blending. Okay, the next kind of blend I'm going to do is really nice. Again, for kind of, if you want sort of sunsets, sunrises, and it's blending, I'm going to be just, I think just using, I might use a bit of yellow, the red. So I'm making up quite a dark red. I've used this on one of my pictures, the tree, the rooted tree, as a background. Let's give it a little bit of a horizon line. Wibbly wobbly. I'm just going all the way across. That was really a wobbly start. So you've got that nice thin line which we can use. And then I'm going to fill in this bottom part. Add a bit of water to that. I haven't really got enough paint on my brush. And I'm just coming across. I'm giving myself a little bit of that earthy ground before I embark on my sunrise, sunset, whatever. A bit more moody, a bit more intense. So I'm going horizontal lines, back and forth. Just going to fill that in just so I don't paint all the pages in my, and I haven't got my bit of plastic to protect. Anyway, there we go. So horizontal lines back and forth ish. Okay, that's a nice thick brush, wide brush, taking those lines. Okay, let's add a bit more red to this. So I've still got a little bit of black in there. I'm going to do my first line. So add a bit of water just to help it move across the page. So nice, strong lines going over. I want that quite a sharp line because I want that to be a horizon line. I don't necessarily want that to be part of my blend. So going across the page, add a bit more water to that. Back and forth. Let's add a bit more red into that. It's getting less dark this claret. And then I'm going over that line. That is the line that I originally did. So I've got quite a thick line, and I'm going over the red and the claret, let's call them, so you get that blend. Okay. Have a bit more, so it's almost just bright red, and I'm going to go over that line. That's it's becoming brighter red. I hope you can see that. You're getting a nice transition. And I'm going to add a little bit of white to that. A bit more white maybe. A bit of water to help it flow. And I'm going to come over with that first line. A bit more water to it. Add quite a lot of white. Maybe a bit too much. Because you want them to go up, you want the values to kind of go up in stages. So I've got kind of quite what I call strawberry ice cream. So that's the next line. I'm overlapping the colour before, just gently going over. I might just take some of that off and then bring in that blend. So I've cleaned off my brush. You get that nice transition to that colour. And I'm going to go one shade even lighter to finish the top of the page. There's quite a lot of white in that. I'm just going over the page and get as much as possible. Go over that other line. So you have, can you see that? You have got, we've used the lovely flat brush to create that sort of ombre effect. Each line getting slightly going from dark to light. I've added a little bit of black. So all I've used in this one is red, black and white. And you could do it more kind of pinky, you could do it more yellowy, so you get lovely glows, but that gives you a really lovely background. So I'm going to leave that again, lovely wide brush, good use of it. Got one more I'm going to show you. It's a big session, this, so it's good, but there's a lot, so I don't expect you to do it all at once. The next one I'm going to be using blue, white and black. So this is a cyan blue. You could be using royal blue, ultramarine, thalio, any of those dark blues. We're going to do a sort of mountain range. Background using this lovely brush. Can add quite a lot of white to that. Sort of starting light. Just a teensy, I like things a little bit grayer. Only a bit of blue. I'm going to start at this edge. Might be a bit too obvious, I'm almost doing triangles, aren't I? Anyway, it'll be some kind of pattern. Then I'm just going to fill this top bit in. A bit more white to that very top line. Maybe what it should do first, in hindsight, do a light, very light blue sky. And then go back over with this colour to create. Let's make up a bit more. Um, want that white to just blend down into the cheek with my finger there. Okay. Bit of black to that. But again, I'm just giving my brush a little bit of a wiggle. Fill that in a bit. Get that nice gradient. Maybe a little bit. A bit more of a, you can't see, can you? Sorry. Let's put a bit more blue in there. I'm using my the width of my brush. I'm just jiggling it around, if that makes sense. Mix up those lines, don't want straight lines in there. More blue. And I'm adding the blue, and then I'm just adding a tad of, it's quite a lot of black. That is really black. Come back, add a bit more blue. We're still using that line. Oh, it might be a bit too similar. Get that nice in the background. And then you could end it with like some grass and more of a foreground. I'm just going to go in with black to kind of add in. It's not, I haven't done it. I've kind of done it very kind of literally. I was trying to kind of create more pattern. You could add more of a kind of mountain, sort of a bit more kind of, there'll be flatter kind of areas. But it's another way of using this flat brush, kind of bringing in that gradient of the colours, which is really, really lovely. The backgrounds. Excuse me. Fill that all in. Let's say that is quite a literal one, but nice thing to do. More stylized, I suppose. Okay. So there is some food for thought with using your flat brush there. That off, and then I'll go give that a really good clean. Yeah, so I've actually got myself 3 backgrounds that I can use at whenever I fancy using them. Okay, that's the start. Why not? So a bit of brush practice, and we've got those backgrounds. That I think is probably enough for the flat brush for now. You'll kind of find other things that you can do. And we'll leave that with you. But I'm going to, yeah, these are all will be kind of more landscape. I think that can be portrait as well. But landscape, I'm going up, and then I've got that there. So I'll probably do some other things with those, maybe for brush practice or just some kind of background. I don't know yet. Okay, right, I shall see you soon. Take care.